Sorry. My live stream's been getting disconnected all day. I don't know what's going on with it. Sorry about that, y'all. Took a little pep out of my step, I think. Took a little pep out of my step. Welcome to Dad's Workshop. I'm Buckskin Cal. This is some buckskin I'm working on right now. We got lots of stuff around here, stuff I made. We do a lot of work in Dad's Workshop. Sorry I got a little bit upset there. I didn't think YouTube was really handling their internet correctly. I should be able to express that a little bit without them shadow suppressing me or whatever it is they do when they're mad. But do accept my greatest apologies if you heard me lose my temper a bit there a minute ago. If you happen to be in the room, I apologize. I am only human, you know? I'm only human. It's doing that Zoom thing, you know? I'm trying to scrape the little bit of grain that I got on here off. Camera angles all over the place too, man. That's not where I have the camera focused. I hate to say it, I don't want to speak too soon, man. They got my camera angle, it doesn't even look like where I'm at right now. So weird. Meanwhile, I'm seeing other people's live streams going off without a hitch. Like, I'm trying to figure out what exactly is going on. Hooked up to the house internet, but I will tell y'all we have been having connectivity issues here in Dad's Workshop or on YouTube. One of those two things. I don't think it's me, man. I think we're fine. Everything, we could do a test. Everything seems fine here. Seems like it's definitely on YouTube's end. I put a help desk ticket in and was like, hello, why is my live stream cutting out repeatedly? And it uses my, here we go again. It uses my notifications up. Now I can't send out shorts because I've done 2 lives. So unfortunate. Scraping grain here. That's what I'm doing. Trying to stay online is what I'm trying to do, man. Stay online. Stay online. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Calvin, and I have a temper. So when things don't go my way, like a petulant child, occasionally I lose my temper, you know? But Kevin, welcome back. Thank you for being here. Last thing I want to do is go in and work on my long form video, you know? Go inside, even though that's probably the first thing I should do, right? Probably the first thing I should do. Yeah, man, I hope they get it figured out too. It's crazy. I sent him a screenshot of my not that it really, like, it's just of my screen being black, you know. And I'm like standing in the shop, so I'm looking at what the viewer would see, you know. Crazy. And then, you know, I imagine I'm not that much of a nervous person. If I was a more nervous person, this would be horrible, because I would be trying to, like, regain my composure because I'm in front of people and stuff like that. And a little bit of that I have to do, but luckily, you know, being a teacher for 17 years, I kind of have that stuff built in. Like, I have built in, like, bounce back from interruptions. As a teacher, obviously, you know, I was getting interrupted all the time, and my train of thought would get thrown, you know, easily. But when they disconnect you multiple times, it also makes it skews your statistics badly too. So my stats are going to look kind of poor as well. My like numbers, the number of regulars that show up because they got frustrated, they couldn't get in and stay in. So it's really bad. So do double tap that screen, like this video, please, before we might get disconnected again. Definitely subscribe to the channel. And if you're not a member, consider becoming a member, because we have, actually right now, we have almost 200 members. We're like 170 members right now. Most of those were gift members, though. We only have 18 regular members in Dad's Workshop. So consider becoming a regular renewing member of the channel. Down there in the bottom corner, a little $sign. Click that $sign. That's how you become a member. I tried to come on Saturday. I think last Saturday I was out of town. But Saturday's a good day because PBS... Oh, I taught music. I was a music teacher. Yeah, I played piano. I was a pianist for many years and went to school for that. Thank you for asking. It was good to know stuff about people. I also taught, occasionally I taught math, and I coached and stuff like that. Like, I'd do math in summer school, stuff like that. I was a good teacher. Just couldn't do it anymore. Couldn't do it anymore, man. I was starting to resent the kids, and not so much, just a little bit. And I told everybody, I said, when I start to resent the kids, then it's time for me to go. And it was kind of starting to happen, so it was time for me to go. I started to see, you know, once you see the world for what it is, you can't go back, you know. And that's not to be cynical, because there's a lot of beautiful things in the world, man. This life is a very beautiful life, but at the same time, there's a lot of nonsense they feed us since we're little that we're supposed to just buy wholesale, and then continue to believe it for the rest of our lives and continue to do the same thing. And I just see so many of my classmates and people I grew up with, and even siblings, and they have absolutely, like, chomped down on the idea that this is, you know, life is this boring, and it's going to be a slog from here on out. And definitely like I see my generation as like the sterile generation. And watch, you know, the other day James Vanderbeek died of the. Kevin said, "Very cool. My wife teaches K through 5 students. She's in her 27th year." Well, congratulations. Your wife does a very important job, man. So thank her from me. I did 17 years, and that was enough for me. My mom did almost 40 years, and she still volunteers to go eat lunch with the kids. My grandfather was a teacher. My mom's dad was a teacher. And his dad was a teacher, and his dad left the Civil War to be a teacher. If you can believe that, man. I kind of fell into it. But I'm not going to stay into it. Just because you fall in a hole doesn't mean you got to stay in there. And it's not for some people, but for me, I don't think that there's no upward mobility in teaching. You have to be dedicated to the public service component of it, or have someone else in your household with a significant income. That's the only two possibilities. Either you have to have family wealth, be committed to being poor, or have another person in your household who has a significant income. Because as a job, with the amount of hours that it requires and the mental bandwidth that it requires, you are not making very much money. And these teachers now their pensions are horrible. They're even worse. Like, they've gotten worse and worse and worse. So the kids that are coming into teaching don't understand the difference between their pension and what people got. I was on the old pension plan. So if anybody had a reason to stay, it was me. Because I got in on the last year of, this would have been like my 20th year, I think, or close to it. It was around this would have been around my 20th year. I was on the old pension plan, so my pension benefits were better. They paid 100%, right? The newer teachers that came in 1 year after me had to pay 50% of all the contributions to their retirement. And once you do that, and you already don't make very much money, you take the whole point of being a teacher out. The medical insurance was so expensive when I left. Like, the last month I didn't get charged for medical insurance. I saw what my check was. It was like way more than that, because I insured my whole family, So there's that too. Medical insurance is bad everywhere. Like, it's kind of hard to have good medical insurance in the U.S. The system is full of greed. The administrators, I hasten to say it, I don't have a problem saying it here, guys. The doctors also are expecting a lot of money. I think, if anything, they should be paying the nurses more. They're the ones that really actually do this stuff. The doctor walks in the room for 5 seconds. Come on, y'all. Is he a celebrity? Dude's got an MD behind his title. He went to 4 more years of school, but now I get to see him for 5 seconds because I'm not important enough for him to stand in the room for more than 30 seconds. Bro, just think about it. The doctor is too important. Tell me this has never happened to you as an American. A doctor walked in the room after you had been cared for, you were going through stuff, you had nurses, nurses' assistants and registrars, and everyone come in the room. The doctor pops in the room for 3 seconds. That is if you got a room, right? Last time I went to the hospital, I sat in the hallway for 4 hours. With insurance, with good insurance. And then the doctor saw me in the hallway and wanted to give me ibuprofen. I had an ankle injury because it happened. I twisted my ankle bad when I was running in the morning. And the doctor wanted to give me ibuprofen and an ace bandage. I was like, keep your ibuprofen, keep your ace bandage. I can do that. And he was like, well, it seems like you're a little angry. I was like, yeah, because you basically I sat in the hallway for 3 hours, and thank you for coming to see me, Everyone in their whole lives has made them seem so special because they went to med school, right? No offense, man. I've got family that's doctors, but even they, like, too cool for school, buddy, Oh yeah, private school is even more difficult because they can my brother teaches and my brother's girlfriend, they both teach at private schools. they got more flexibility on how they can use them too. Every dance, every camping trip, every after school event, every time they need you to chaperone at a private school, you're on the hook. Like public school teachers can kind of get away with that. I mean, they'll tell you can't say no, but you can. You can say no and probably get away with it, especially if you're tenured. You can get away with it. I'm not going to show up. Like they'll take away every weekend you have, and you get just a little bit of time with your family. You know, honestly, I see it with my ex-wife, dude. Shout out if she's watching. She's not. And my kids probably aren't. They're probably in school right now. But she teaches, and she honestly doesn't have enough mental bandwidth left for my children. Like, she gets home from work, she can't even handle like stuff that they need because she's teaching like autistic kids, and it takes every bit of energy she has. So now my kids, they kind of get the short end of the stick, and she has full custody. It's tough, dude. Cedar, welcome. What's up, bro? What's up? Cedar. I cursed and disconnected last time I got off, so apologize to anyone who was there for that. And then I decided I was getting back on. That's kind of how I roll. I reserve the right to change my opinion on stuff. I reserve that right. So the edges on these get real tight. You really want to pull these out because you lose square footage of leather if you don't. But probably the best thing to do is spritz it a little. I don't want to get this thing real wet here. Just these edges. Cedar, welcome. Cedar. And then I'm going to scrape a little here. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So they'll like, the edges will like wrinkle up and get so, when they dry, they tend, all the fibers come in together because, for whatever reason, I'm not going to go into the science of it. But you want to try to pull these apart, and it can be difficult. You see how that started to come apart a little bit there? Because you get more leather out of your piece. Already more square footage. It's a pain. And if you don't have little tiny fingers, it's even more of a pain. But welcome. My name's Calvin. This is Dad's Workshop. What's your name? Kind of a weird angle you have there. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I use this knife to scrape. This is like my favorite knife for scraping, at least on the last stages. I use my hatchet to do the heavy duty scraping, and it takes, like, it's good at taking grain off. A little grain right here. I think this is actually the flesh side, so a little bit of this stuff here, no problem, right? On the grain side, when I say grain, let me show you what I'm talking about. This has a great, like, fluffy texture right now, right? This is buckskin. But if you look, and I want to make sure that you have an angle to see, these little spots are where the grain is still intact. This would be the hair side, right? Now this isn't hair, this is skin. But this is that membrane on the outside of the skin referred to as the grain, which has to be removed. So y'all see it's turning into a beautiful, like, velvety, soft fabric. But it started real rough, like this. See that? See how rough that is? Really hard to work that. It doesn't get that way on its own. Well, welcome. Thank you for being here. Smash that like button. Double tap that screen, like this video, folks. Not everybody online is doing this kind of stuff, but also want to show y'all something. So hopefully I don't get disconnected here. I want to show you something real quick. So these are some old, these are American made, but I probably got these in the 2000 aughts. The 2000 aughts. These are some leather boots. Now, I don't know. This is probably chrome tan leather. But I don't know for sure because the company is a pretty reputable company. What I'm going to do with these boots is I'm going to saw off the whole top of these. Take these rubber soles and shave it down to like flat. Take the heel off of it because see how worn down it is? I'm going to shave the heel off of it. and then smooth it out, and I'm gonna use that as the bottom sole for my flip flops. And if I can get anything out of this leather, I will, but I'd rather use my own leather on it. But I'm gonna use these soles for flip flops. Also, while I got all y'all here, this is the apron that I'm working on. I need a little bit longer straps. And if you are new here, this is made from a raccoon. So this is grain. It has the grain on leather, and then buckskin down here, and heavily oiled as well. But real nice texture to it. Maybe a little small for me. Maybe I made it a little bit small for me. But wanted to show you that too while y'all are here. Definitely subscribe to the channel. We're doing all kinds of stuff from scratch here, y'all. I got a lot of projects lined up. Why not resold? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So thank you for being here, and do subscribe and become a member of the fam here at Dad's Workshop. I'm Calvin. What's your name? I want to know you and where you come from and what kind of stuff you do. Talk about your experience with buckskin. Resold. That's what they call it. They really like something. Maybe those dirty boots. These little grain pieces, as I was just telling them, I'm going after these grain, the last of the grain on this piece of buckskin here. It's pretty thin in texture. It would be nice and cool in the summer, I think. I do know why Custer wanted to wear all buckskin though instead of his army uniform. Kind of makes sense. You got the buckskin hookup. If it's done right, like, and there are people who just know it's an art, man. They just know how to do it. Whole books on just making buckskin. I've never held any real buckskin in my hand. This is the closest thing I got to it. This was leather my cousin made that he called buckskin, but this looks like it's chrome tan or bottle tan, right? Nothing wrong with that. I got this like 20 some years ago, but this is the closest thing I ever got to it. So I use this knife sometimes, and I use this the hatchet sometimes. And I'm trying to. Here's another spot where I wanna moisturize this spot here. These edges. Other way I could really get this thing pasted out is, they call it pasting it out, I think, is when you put it on a board, large board, and you push it, use a dubbin or a tallow substance that is oils that are solid at room temperature. And then you press it out on a board, and y'all may have seen me do that with other hides before. Oh yeah, man. Yeah, so if that leather is any good on there, see, cowboy boots are made of veg tan leather. Yeah, so cowboy boots are usually made with really nice veg tan leather, so that's probably why you can do that. Oak Ridge Taxidermy, welcome. Yeah, leather is like, if it's veg tan, it's able to be machine washed. So once I make these things out of this buckskin, as long as it's taken care of, conditioned, that means you use an oil or something, because this needs to be re-oiled after this too. As long as it's conditioned, you can machine wash it and you can use it forever. There was a ship that went down off the west coast. It's a Russian ship, and it contained a bunch of bark tan leather, or veg tan leather, and it had pine pitch on it. It was like the way that the Russians made their leather back then. This is the 1800s, and it was discovered in the 1980s. It was sank in the late 1800s. It was discovered in the late 1900s, and the leather was used to make bags and wallets, and I don't know if it was made in the wallets. I just know that the leather was used. Sat at the bottom of the ocean for 100 years, ladies and gentlemen. That's how strong veg tan leather is. The shoes from the Titanic, they're still down there, you know. Probably they'll still be there when all the other stuff deteriorates. It'll be the porcelain and the leather down there probably. None of the metal will be there anymore, you know. But thank you for being here, folks. My name's Calvin. Saturday edition of Dad's Workshop. Some people may call me Buckskin Cal. I'm not going to say that I'm called that, but some people may call me that. I certainly call myself that at every opportunity. Welcome to Dad's Workshop. My name is Buckskin Cal. And that right there, you may have never felt this in your life. I hadn't either. It's really frizzy. Frizzy, soft, velvety. Velvety, velvety, velvety buckskin. That y'all. So supple, it'd make a baby cry. Well, babies cry anyway. That's not a good one. You put that against your mama's face. You could feel confident in that. Put that against your mama's face. She would love it. Still working on this stuff, Oak Ridge. See how I don't... I'm working on one piece forever. I have that luxury, I guess. A lot of taxidermists that are working like Oak Ridge has to get pieces out and sell them, you know. So he doesn't have the luxury of taking his time like this on every single piece. Well, I won't speak for him. I'll let Oak Ridge speak for himself. But he said some really nice stuff last time. So shout out Oak Ridge. Welcome to everybody. My name is Calvin. This is Dad's Workshop. I was a little frustrated earlier. YouTube wasn't getting their numbers. They weren't getting their stuff together, and so I was getting disconnected every 2 seconds. And then Rubber Band versus Hawaiian Punch Dude was on. That made me so ill sick to my stomach. That Rubber Bands versus Hawaiian Punch was on. Please don't check that channel out. I mean, if you're going to. You're not my clientele if you're going to go to the Rubber Band channel. You're no family of mine, Rubber Band channel watchers. If I see my sons do it, you are no son of mine. Just kidding, I wouldn't tell my sons that. Don't tell your children that, folks. It's not very nice. Parenting lesson right here, Dad's Workshop. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Calvin. This is Dad's Workshop. Like I said, some people might call me Buckskin Cal. They may or they may not. You know. Some people may need to start calling me that before I catch an attitude with them. Calvin, crazy Cal is what they usually call me. Crazy like a fox, man. Talking about this earlier, and I didn't get to really go off on a tangent on it. With I'm not much of a copier, right? I don't follow instructions well already, but when I do follow instructions to the T, once I learn something, I want to find ways not to follow instructions. I do understand that you have to learn things a certain way sometimes. Though. Having been a piano teacher, I know there is the wrong way to learn a lot of stuff. I worked with a guy that recycled cowboy. Okay, we already read that one. Yeah, so, anyways, I'll yap if you guys aren't going to yap. But yeah, so I don't copy much. I try to do original stuff here, man. I know some people like to give me advice too. You know. Copy my shit. Some people are just leeches, dude. They're wolves in sheep's clothing. They come off like they're nice and stuff. And sweet, and this is the same. It goes to that. It's kind of the cousin of my point a long time ago that I was making about how, and this is not. It's not to sound cynical, but in this competitive world we live in, and I can speak for the United States because that's where I've spent most of my life. I've been visited some other places, but I've been here. In the competitive world we live in, that's not always a meritocracy. You will find people who will tell you that you're, like I remember this in the music world, that they said, I just really wanted to have more of a neo-soul sound. I just wanted to have more of a, can you put some more rhythm in it? Can you make it a little more lively? You know, these are people who can't write music, you know? And so, you know, people have their critiques on everything and everyone has their specifics. But what always was, someone told me one time, and it stuck with me, they're like, Calvin, the whole world is going to try to make you feel like you're inferior. And even if they sometimes don't act like it, you will see, even when you don't expect it, people will try to make you feel inferior. They'll try to make you feel like you are not good enough. Even if they don't say it sometimes, they act it. The other day I was having a tough day. I wasn't feeling well. And I got in my YouTube live stream and the numbers weren't good. And no one likes to see that. No one likes to see poor numbers, especially if you're a live streamer. It doesn't give you that dopamine rush for sure. But I said something like, I don't know if I'm going to piss in the wind. And somebody in here might have been in there when I did that. I said, I'm not the type to piss in the wind. And someone made a comment to me. They said, why don't you engage your chat? And like I was actually literally talking to the people before this person came in. And I think that was a moment where I lost my respect for that person, because the same person, you know, I'm not gonna say their, you know, I'm not gonna say names because I'm just not gonna do that. But the same person I've seen them ignore their chat whenever they feel like it. When they're in a bad mood, they don't talk to nobody on there, but I need to engage my chat, right? See, that's what I mean. The standards are not, people will hold you to standards they don't even hold themselves to. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. What, am I supposed to be a prince for you? You're going to talk, you're going to say that kind of stuff when you know I'm not doing well? And then just, if you know somebody's not a friend when you talk to them and you're in an upset mood, right? And you're talking to someone and you've got something on your mind and you're trying to also listen, because a conversation is give and take. We say something and we listen and we say something. A true friend is going to listen to what you have to say, then give you the feedback they think is best for you, right? If you're having a conversation with someone and you're upset and they're a true friend, or they consider themselves a true friend, then when you guys are in that conversation, they're not going to start bringing up whimsical things about their past and things that make them feel, you know, better about themselves. They're going to use this as an opportunity to help lift you up. That's the way that a friend should do. This conversation is not about you and your ego. It's about the person who's concerned. It's time for you to be a friend and sit in there and listen. And don't talk about you right now. It's not about you, right? This is how you know someone. If you have a conversation with someone and you are upset and they are supposed to be your friend, and they can't even listen and provide you feedback without talking you get in a million allegories about their past or whatever, that's not a friend. That's somebody who likes to hear themselves talk. It may seem like that's me, guys. I don't really do that. I don't talk just to hear myself talk. My point is, watch out. Everything is not what it seems. I noticed that people that watched me early in my YouTube career, who were very loyal and showed up even when the numbers were low, I still see them on YouTube, right? They go to channels that are doing really badly, and that's okay. Like, I did read about this early on. There are some people who like small creators, right? But like, just because you got a couple thousand subscribers doesn't mean you're a big creator, right? It doesn't. But what they do is they like to see people kind of struggling in the pool and learning to swim, and to see if they can learn to swim. They want to be there when they learn to swim. Once they learn to swim, they're out. They don't want to see anymore. They kick the bird out the nest, and then so I see the same people. I wonder where they go, and then I see them on people's live streams. Like, oh, there you are. I haven't seen you in a while. Wonder where you've been. Where they've been is in the channels where there's not very many views, because that's the channels they prefer. And it's not because they're trying to support the little guy either. It's because they just don't want to be in a room with more people. They don't like to see people succeed, really. People get jealous. They get jealous. They see you succeed and you have to do things differently because people change. Season for everything, right? I'm not selling anybody anything right now, but I'm not going to rule out the fact that I have to sell stuff. Like, I'm now eligible to do YouTube shopping, so you're going to see tagged items and stuff in my videos, because that's the only way I'm going to be able to make ends meet. You know, but some people don't like that, right? I set this live stream up with minimal commercials, right? Just the minimal amount of commercials. I'm not going to make a ton of money off of it, even if my record live stream was very small monetarily, like $1, you know, in terms of ad revenue. So just to give you an idea, I'm not making anything. I'm not making a killing here. I'm not getting rich off this stuff. So people get jealous. They think you're making a killing off the thing, and you're not. Stop on by and say hi. I ain't changed. I'm the same Calvin that you saw when you left. You know. When it suits them, they like it. When I have 300 in here, you're going to see all of them come back. You know, some people are blocked from the channel. YouTube and AI and stuff tell me don't bring it up. Don't bring it up, Calvin. I'm tempted to, though. I'm really tempted to, because they say our people watch the same streams. But there are people blocked in here because I do not want them showing up when I got 300 in the room and sapping off my audience. You know, you're gonna come in here and take my audience that I nurtured. I nurtured this audience, not you. Don't come into my live stream and promote yourself like a leech. Ugh. Some people are even subtle about how they do it too. But that wasn't subtle at all. And then when I see people consort with that person, then I'm like, okay, I can't mess with you either. Can't mess with you either. Nope. Can't play the middle all the time, guys. Sometimes you have to pick a side. And, you know, with some of these guys, I really like what they do, and they seem cool as people. But when I see what the way they choose making decisions, and you know, you gotta make your decisions for you. Yeah, Kevin says, yes, sir, our world is all about speaking before we listen. I teach a class at night to help men with their addiction. I have to listen 90% of the time and only speak the other 10%. And it's true, though, Kevin, that when you listen to those guys and they talk about their issues and all of this stuff, that they're going to tell you everything you need to know, you know, the more you listen. So they're going to let you into their psychology a lot more. A little experience with that myself. But I'm glad you do that kind of work, man. That's noble work, and important for people to talk through those their addictions. Hey, what's up, Dacian? Dacian, we had some YouTube has some technical issues. I'm sorry that we have had that. I will apologize for you on behalf of YouTube. I will apologize, Dacian. Welcome, Dacian, friend of the program. Big time friend of the program, Dacian. How you doing today? As we were before, doing this tedious job of scraping all the grain off of this buckskin. It seems almost there. There's always little bits. I don't know if you'll ever get it all off. Yeah, Dacian said, yeah, I noticed. Tried to watch earlier, but got stuck in the black loading screen. Yeah, that wasn't just you. That was everybody who tried to watch, including me. I have a watching screen, too. Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I'm gonna make some sweet sandals and moccasins out of this buckskin. That one I might leave for now, because it's really nice and smooth. There's only a few little edge areas where there's any grain left at all. Very fidgety friendly stuff here, because y'all, I mean, it's really just kind of hard to express the softness, y'all. Maybe some of the softest stuff I ever felt, like velour soft, man, super soft. Put that aside for a minute. This one is the one that really needs my attention. How's the motorcycle business, Emre? The motorcycle and outboard motor Yamaha business going today? I guess it's evening for you. Saturday, but I don't know. You guys probably don't open on the weekends there. It's about to be Ramadan too. Ramadan coming up on Tuesday? Same day as Ramadan's the same day as something else this year. So Ramadan coming up next week. Done some grinding this evening, working on an anvil and and a couple of old hammers, almost getting the parts required for the forge burner. Oh, nice. Feels good to make some yeah, man, that's the feeling of progress on your projects. Real satisfaction, man, for sure. Real sense of satisfaction. Hey, if you're new here, my name is Calvin. Please do subscribe to the channel. This is Dad's Workshop. My name is Calvin. Sometimes I refer to myself as Buckskin Cal. Just had to throw that in there, and I will throw that in there more. Pay attention, because I'm gonna keep coming with it. Got some packages to send out this week, and then some of those packages are gonna be good. I mean, it's gonna be like, that's it for me, man. Because yeah, I don't want to get into it. I just, people just over time you learn who people really are, and this is how it is. Social media too, like the most non-mental health thing that's like not good for your mental health of all things, social media, right? And if you're doing live streaming, you're kind of an entertainer, but it's also in social media. It's crazy. Oh, here's something I thought was strange too. I'm gonna pop this up and let people tell me what they think about this. James Van Der Beek, the American actor, died last week. Very sad for him. Condolences to James Van Der Beek and his family. He's 48 years old. He was the star of a show called Dawson's Creek and a movie called Friday Night Lights. So he's kind of a teen heartthrob in the United States. To give you some background on who this person is, in case you don't know who they are. And some of the stuff said was that they had to use GoFundMe to pay for his medical bills. They had to do a GoFundMe, and they were out of money basically. When he passed away, all of his acting money was gone. Now, I looked it up. He said in an interview on NBC, I think last year or something, or a couple years ago, he said, "I made next to nothing on Dawson's Creek." It was the show he was on in the 90s. Alright, so I looked it up. He made $35,000 an episode for the first few episodes of Dawson's Creek. And then a second season, they boosted him up to $175,000 per episode. I don't really need to do the math to know there were several seasons of that show. So if you have 10 seasons, 10 episodes in a season, and you get 100, you get 175. That's 1.075 million, right? Or 1.75 million from a season. That's not next to nothing. I don't care who you are. You can't talk to the United States of America. We have the internet now. We can find out what you made. You know. Rest in peace. And I do believe speak no ill of the dead, but I thought it was offensive that this man said that he was making next to nothing and that the money was all gone because he didn't get residuals like other people back then. Bro, there's so many people in entertainment who struggled so much harder. Now, that's not to say that I think he shouldn't have had medical care, because you need medical care, and it just goes to show how expensive it is in the U.S. that it can break somebody who's rich, you know. That's how expensive it is here, man. Even a rich person could get broken. A teen heartthrob, and he was a working actor, too. And if some people say, what is your point? My point is that I was offended by him saying he didn't make money. And he took a lot of, when they did a GoFundMe, not saying they didn't deserve it, but like, because they did it and they got the money, and you know, well, he died, so maybe the extension of his life was worth it for his family. And he had 6 kids, so man, pray for those 6 kids. That's tough. But he came from an upper middle class, if not wealthy family. He went to a elite private school for his high school. I'm like, where was his family for this? They had old money. Forget about the acting money. They had old money, right? Yet I didn't make enough money, and that money is gone now. Now, so here's the thing. When you are 20, if you get a job on a sitcom or a TV show and you're making $1 million a season, you have to have a financial advisor. That money should have made him so much money by now. This was the late 90s. If he would have put 100,000 of that in the stock market, he would have had millions, and it would have paid for his treatment. You know, he could have pulled it out in 22 or something, and paid for all his medical bills, theoretically. I don't know exactly what they were, but in the medical establishment was greedy, so, as I was talking about earlier. So, I don't know. I was like next to nothing. I believe in residuals too for actors. Like, I'm all about them getting residuals. But when he said that, I was like, oh, he must have made like $2,000 an episode. Nah, man, he made like $175,000 an episode, second season. I can't even calculate that in Turkish money, Dacian, but it's a lot. Speaking of which, he probably could have gone overseas to get some medical treatment. You know, we were talking about this the other day. How there's doctors in other countries that have the same, if not better, skill levels on a number of, in a number of disciplines. So I think it's kind of silly when people stay here and say they have to stay in the United States for that care, because if I'm needing care, I'm going to go to where the doctor is providing the best care for the least amount of money. You know, it's not the cheapest, not lowest bid, but best care for least amount for sure. I'm going to make a mold here in the next couple days that I'm going to use to wet form my buckskin hat. So you get pushed down and then the mold will go on top of it there. I don't go on Sundays, folks. I take the Sabbath off every week. So definitely subscribe and check out my other videos and stuff. Lions, I wonder why you're green. Oh, you might have got a gift membership. What's up, man? Easy, Calvin. I'm well. Thank you for asking for your wishes. I am better today. I've had some sort of a sinus infection. See, I'm smart though. I put aside half of my amoxicillin last time I got sick, dude, and just dealt with it. And now, that was a year ago. I feel much better because I'm able to take the amoxicillin I need. You know what I mean? Give him, bro. Let's see. Yes, sir. If a person doesn't know how to handle big sums of money, they will be broke, or some people, it destroys them. Look up most lottery winners; they're broke within 5. That's accurate. That is a true statistic. You start to live. It's called lifestyle inflation. That's the new term for it. Lifestyle inflation. You live a lifestyle that you can't sustain. Garlic is super good for you. That is true. Yeah, I've been a little under the weather the last few days. Feeling better now, though, man. Feeling better. I don't like losing my days to illness. Hate it. I went out in the woods hunting the other day, not feeling 100%. Like, I was like, I gotta get out here because it's too much of an opportunity. God bless the mammals, man. I love the animals too, man. Y'all don't know. Hunting is a situation sometimes. You know, I know people just hate it. Just society has just created a situation where people don't understand anything anymore. Don't just believe everything everybody says at face value. Challenge ideas, right? Let me give you an example, right? So the same person that will come in here and challenge me or call me a monster for working an animal hide that doesn't know how I got it or whatever. They're the same person that just went to McDonald's and ate chicken nuggets or ate a turkey breast sandwich because they don't eat red meat, right? So they went and they ate... Oh, my microphone. Can y'all hear me? How could y'all hear me like that? They'll go eat a turkey breast sandwich and they don't realize that those turkeys live pointless, meaningless lives where they're shoved up against each other like this. They can't even move. If they get too big before they get slaughtered, they actually can't even hold their own body weight. They're bred to die. That's what they're bred to do. Whereas animals in the woods live a purposeful life. The other day I took a squirrel when I was hunting, and this squirrel I could tell had lived, it was a male, an older male. It had lived a long life, man. You know, it probably had multiple children. There's, you know, multiple babies. And that's like, and the other thing, and I'm going to tell you this, and I didn't even tell a lot of people this, is I found fleas on the squirrel, right? So the squirrel that I killed, I found fleas on it almost immediately. I was thinking about this, right? Those fleas are a sign that it's in there with a lot of squirrels. Because in the middle, it was literally 15 degrees outside. Fleas cannot survive that temperature. So inside these trees, there's a lot of squirrels living, maybe too many. And so because there's so many squirrels in those holes, the flea population is going up, which means those fleas are going to spread disease eventually too. Between the different, like, fleas spread intestinal parasites. So you could end up with a tapeworm situation with your squirrels. So hunting, in some ways, it's checking these populations in ways that they're not checked. Like these squirrels where I was hunting, they are so overpopulated, man. There's no other animals. They push all the other animals out. Only thing that could get in there would be predators. There's not enough. There's only one bobcat roaming around there, I think. So... just need reveal B-roll. B-roll. Let's go back a second so we can talk about it. I definitely got some cayenne. My folks brought me back some cayenne from Hungary. It's supposedly like some of the best in the world. Wish I had it here. I could show it to you. My parents just got back from Eastern Europe. Yeah, so the squirrels, I mean, this is their endemic, this is their habitat, but there's too many of them. So when there's no balance like that, there's not enough foxes there, I don't think, anymore. I haven't seen any foxes in quite some time. The owls only hunt the small stuff. I think they need more bobcats. There's only one or two of them wandering around. There's a couple of black bears in the area, but black bears, if they're small, they don't even eat squirrels, you know. They eat whatever they can find in the woods, you know, black raspberries or whatever. And then there's coyotes, and that's what we have, right? So if you don't have coyotes and you don't have bobcats, it makes me I'm not going to trap the bobcat there, as I was telling my mother, because I said I can't trap your bobcat because you need the bobcat to control the squirrels. Like, I'm taking out an animal that's important to the ecosystem. As much as I would love to have a bobcat, I know better and I'm responsible. So I'm not going to take a bobcat from an ecological system that it needs to be in because there's too many squirrels. Like, here's the biggest problem. The squirrels are eating all of the strawberries. They're eating all of the apples. They're eating all of these fruits and vegetables that are being produced at my folks' house. They're all getting eaten, half eaten by squirrels. And so now what you have to do in that scenario is you have to harvest the squirrels, because if what you're producing is being consumed by something, then you need to consume that thing in order to balance the ecosystem and get something out of what you're producing. I planted hundreds of strawberry plants at my folks' place. And I've moved them around. I've put a lot of effort into creating these hugelkultur beds where these strawberries can produce, and they get these little chintzy little tubs of strawberries like this every day. Dude, I was getting 11 pounds of strawberries a day. I had the squirrels controlled in my previous patch, right? So you get tons of yield if the animals aren't eating them, you know? If the animals are eating them, then you got to eat the animals, man. That's the situation you're in. Yeah, very disconnected from nature, man. The only thing they feel is one emotion: sympathy, right? But if you saw the humans on Earth that live in squalid conditions, horrible conditions, children, human children, then I think your sympathy is misplaced. Like, there's a lot of humans in the world that are in terrible shape. 2 out of 3 people in the world is starving. I'm assuming you're not starving, you know. I've had my issues with food. Assuming you're not starving, you're the third one, so, you know, you being the plural you, the royal you. Hey, man, so yeah, people are definitely disconnected from nature. Just because you hunt and take animals doesn't mean that you don't like nature, you don't love animals, that you know. I'm not saying every hunter. There is hunting that I take issue with. But I'm not going to get in and I'm not going to nitpick on other people either. It's just something as humans, that turkey lives a purposeless life. The cow that goes to the slaughter gets a bolt in its head. It lived a meaningless life, crammed in with other cows. The deer that's running free that people are so scared to eat. Even I was programmed to not like game meat. And I ate game meat when I was little. All the McDonald's they fed me and all that other trash they fed me my whole life got me thinking that trash is the best food. It really did. That deer that you hunt, if you hunt it, that deer lived a meaningful life and gave itself to you, right? You didn't get it. It gave itself to you. It allowed you to take it. It put itself in a place to allow you to take it. There's an order to things, you know? We were talking about accents the other day. People doing terrible British accents. DT was in here. Is DT in here now? Shout out. DT's from, I'm sure you know him, Alliance down there. And I say down there because way, way south of you. In Devonshire. Devon, right? Different region of England. And I forgot to tell you all, you know, there's people not far from here, off the coast of North Carolina and Virginia, that speak on the Outer Banks, which is not, it's about 90 miles from here. You go over the Sound. You're on this barrier island called the Outer Banks. And these people speak a type of brogue that's often referred to as hoy-toiters, right? They're often referred to as hoy-toiters because they speak a brogue that goes back to like the accent in what I want to say the region is like East Anglia, lower, not far southeast England, right? But you can correct me if I'm wrong. The guy from BFG had this accent, but it's an accent, regional accent in England. The people on the coast of the Outer Banks, or who grew up in the Outer Banks, speak it. It's called Outer Banks brogue. I was at a gas station. They said, "Oh, thank you," you know, and I get this little, like I'm like, "What did he just say? These people from England? Where are they from?" And if you're on Smith Island or Tangier Island out in the Chesapeake Bay, these people actually speak with this. It's like an Elizabethan English accent, man. It's really strange, and it goes back 400 some years to when the people settled those places in their isolation out there. Hoy-toiters, because the you know. And that kind of explains, as Americans, why our R's are harder, because our accents kind of are more connected with that region, if that makes sense. If you think about the linguistic piece of it. The given accent of a people, the vernacular is always changing. It's like it's always moving. There's the flux. And the line said on here, yeah, I'm much more at home in the countryside than the city. So glad I live where I live. Yeah. You got beautiful stuff around you, man. I said that about DT too, man. He took a picture out the side of his house and like just stunning stuff, man. Stunning stuff. I don't know if Mike Osborne got back in here after my first attempt at streaming, but I was talking about that, the feeling of living in the land of your ancestors. Hey Wes, what's going on, man? How you doing? Oh, he said hi to Miss Heather. I actually don't know if Miss Heather's in here right now. She's but she will appreciate that. Hey, double tap that screen, like this video. Right now what we're doing is scraping buckskin, y'all. And we've been doing that a lot. I'll tell you what my idea is. I'll repeat my idea again. Doesn't matter because it's always it's a fluctuating audience. But I want to show y'all what I'm really proud of, which is the texture of this buckskin here. And we're getting it, right? Hopefully y'all can really see how soft that is, man. It's really soft. It's gotten to a real... Oh, he's liking your leather stuff. Yeah, I saw that leather stuff, man. Good work. Yeah. Yeah, so we got this is the bigger, thicker buckskin. This was a hide that I had to retan twice. So I've been scraping this one. It probably needs more scraping, but just to update you. This one I haven't gotten to today, I don't think. This was what we really worked. This is almost at a point where it doesn't even need any working anymore. You can see how frizzed out that is now, right? Super soft, baby soft like velvet. Yep. That's what you want with buckskin. That's what you're going for. So you could brush it probably. Like I got that fiber really, really, really soft. Just with just elbow grease, you know. And then I'm going to work on the hair on hides too to get them down soft. That's going to be even harder because I can only work the one side. I didn't show you all this today though. You know, sometimes I say things off the top of my head, but I do sometimes I can save face. At least I saved this face. So this is a piece of grain leather deer face is what this is. It was kind of hard. It was left in the tannins for a long time. So it doesn't change. It just got fully tanned. But what I think it needs to be is broken like against this guy right here. Let me see, we can see what it looks like after I break it for a couple minutes. Yeah, I think I would need like 3 or 4 more pieces of buckskin to actually have a jacket. Probably more like 3 because I got a... but we're gonna use it. I'm gonna use it for numerous smaller items. So I got this little 2x4 wedged in my my hold fast hole here. I'm gonna see, can this be broken a little? Oh, thank you, Wesley. You've gotten really good, bro. Thank you. Yeah, it does look good to wear. It looks nice and soft, and I'm like super psyched about that. I want to get this. All my pieces of like scrap leather need to be softened up. Now since I got Wes in here, if he's still in here, if I didn't lose you yet, I have a shipment coming your way with the hawks. I promised you a hawks, and I want to show you what they look like because I got you in here, and I have them with me. They've been in tannins, and I can scrape them down right here while we're in the live stream too. Gotta save my battery for the way home. Catch you guys later. All right, don't run out of battery, man. Stay safe. All right, this is one hawk for you. Hawk 2. This is fully tanned. This one's coming your way, Wes, and then I've got 2 matching ones. I wanted to send you that. No, it's these 2 because I wanted you to be able to do something scabbard wise. All right, so we got 2 matching hawks, right? This is coming your way. The only thing I wanted to do with these was maybe paste them down to the board, but break them so when they come to you they're soft. They also kind of got a little bit of a like just out of the tanning stuff smell to them. Yeah, no, this was something I promised you a long time ago, man. So I'm gonna come through on that. So I'm giving you these 2 hawks, hopefully, and they're nice and thick too. They came out and flexible, which is not. Look, let me show you. It's not common. Like this is actually, I put this in a fat liquor, but this was rock solid, man. I mean, it wouldn't even move at all. So to have it, it's not a little thing to have some flex to it. Some of these things get so rigid, it's impossible. It's almost impossible to work them, including that big hide that I was just working a minute ago. That was like a really difficult hide to work. Find those other hawks. I got my scraps in here. These are all going to be used for different things and sent off as giveaway items. There. All right, so these 2 are coming to you, Wes. I also got a couple little things, and then I told some other members I would send them little scraps as well. But let me break these a little bit on this piece here. And then I have in the pocket of my apron over here, I have a stropping leather that I don't think is good enough. It kind of got shriveled up, man. This is what happens with grain leather, but you can see it, if you look real carefully on there, it has Wes on it. I stamped it in there, but it's just a little stropping leather. You can like hook it to your belt or snap it on something on your bench, and you can strap on it hopefully. So that's another thing there. Yeah, I mean it's maybe not as wide. I looked it up afterwards to see was it as wide as a strap should be, um, and maybe it's not. It's about an inch and a half, I think. Maybe it should be about 2 inches wide. But I'm gonna ship it your way anyways. Maybe you'll get use out of it, and if you use it as leather for another project too, it's still really good, like grain on leather. Yeah, so we got that, and then I had one made for another member that really shriveled up. It has to be redone. It's just not good enough. I'm not gonna send that. I'm not gonna put my. I can't. I used to tell the kids at school, don't put your name on something that's trash. Like I don't. I don't want to put my name on something I know is not good. Yeah, man. So hopefully, and the key with these is just flatness. So what I'll probably do, put some of this here on it. This is my salve. It's made with beeswax and some other things. I'll stick this down to a board with this salve here, and that'll keep it nice and flat. Because when you put your blade over top of it, you want that leather to be perfectly flat and not crinkled up at all, is my understanding. That's my understanding of it. Let's see here. This is beeswax, coconut oil. It's got peppermint oil and a couple other little things in it. It's a thick oil. It has a thick viscosity at room temperature. So it's good for structure. And I use it on most all of my leather. My father tells me it smells like liniment because he's a farm guy. So I said, what, liniment? What is that? It's the stuff they use on horses when they get sick. I think that's because it has that the peppermint in it. I also put tea tree oil. There's tea tree oil in there, which is great for fibers like skin type fibers. Now, if I feel like this hair is slipping, I'm not going to send it to you like that. I don't want to send you slipping hair. It was submerged in tannins for a very long time, man. Took the color out of the hair and added color into the skin, you know. Kind of looks like polar bear hair now. Yeah, so it's going to be some oils. Always, leather has to be maintained for the entire existence of its entire life. Not all the time, but in order to keep leather supple and behaving like it should, you have to not regularly, just every so often it has to be oiled or conditioned with some sort of oil and then broken, especially if it's not being worn regularly. Yeah, if it's not being worn. And it's nice that I had you on here to show you that. So these two, which could also be used as straps, to be honest with you, if that's what you just decide. But I think they would make a nice scabbard, some sort of a sheath, or there's various things you could use these for. A couple of different chisel sheaths I think they could be used for, probably would make a cool chisel sheath. Really like those. Probably wouldn't take the time. See, you live and you learn, right? I wouldn't take the time to do that again because it doesn't seem worth it to take the hawks when the hide is so much work by itself. These little ones, you got to put the work into them too. Wes says, I have a leather wallet that originally had the hair on it. It has about half now, but the leather is still in great shape. I've had it for about 8 years so far. You could probably scrape the rest of that hair off if you take some man, so maybe try baking soda. Soak it, take everything out of it, and soak it in a really strong baking soda mixture. Or take wood ash from your fireplace or your grill. Take just ash, make sure you don't take any coals, and soak it in this ash. Mix the ash with water. Soak it in there for a few days and see if that hair will loosen up on there. And you can get all the hair out. I used to have a sealskin wallet that my grandfather brought me from Alaska. And it had the hair on it. It looked like this, to be honest, man. Like the white part of this, that's what sealskin looks like up close. Like I don't know if you've ever seen that. My grandfather had very close relationships with the the native people in Kotzebue, the northern part of Alaska. He was very close with them. They connected. Yeah, so yeah, seal skin. It was probably a harp seal. I have no idea. I thought it was some other animal when I got it because the fur was like, and this was a wallet I had when I was in the 6th or 7th grade, so it's long gone. But yeah, these are hawks. So from the leg of the animal, these two will be going to west, and that strop will be going there as well. Make sure if you are a member that you drop your address, dadsworkshopcalvin@yahoo.com, so that I can send you stuff too. I got a couple people on the list. So to give you perspective, you see how that strop turned out? This was another one I made that was the same width as this, right? But when it dried, it shriveled. You see how it shriveled into this kind of unusable thing? So I'm going to have to find a different use for that. That was for another member. It didn't work out. All these scraps have been re-moisturized. But I'm going to need them all. I'm going to need all the ones I don't... Yeah, man, got to have those member perks. Member perks. This is the toughest part of this deer skin. Right here. Also had a cable rigged up. Yeah. I think that's how, like, my first holster that I made for that axe, I made with scraps, right? These are just scraps. Maybe this isn't. This came from the edge of that raccoon hide. But I had already done a couple stitches before that, so I was, like, ready to do that, I think. Yeah, for sure. I'm working on my apron, and I have a video that's all about making stuff and how I've made this buckskin. Is kind of, hey, Outdoors Inc. 8261 says he just subbed. Welcome. Glad to have a new sub. Oh, thank you. You said the work I did on this hatchet was fire. Yeah. The end had to come off, unfortunately, because, and you can't really see it on here anymore. This was the end. It was delambed right here, so we ground that off. And then this is really good. It's still not, I'm glad it's not sharp yet because I've been using it to scrape buckskin. But yeah, I'm proud of it for sure. So all my scraps, all this stuff gets pushed back when I can't get it done in a day. Like I'm out here and I've got a list of things I need to do. I need to break this. I need to get this started, this or that. It gets pushed back when I can't do it. And I'm also working on that long form video about the apron, which I pulled up a minute ago. I'm not going to go much long. I'm not going to take much more of y'all's time. But I do want to show you my apron if you haven't seen that yet. It's not quite finished. I need some longer straps on the back. So this is the apron right now. This is buckskin down here, and then we got this raccoon. And I feel like I did a better job stitching on this. These straps right here really gave me difficulty because they're extremely hard, like harder than belt leather almost, if that makes sense. So welcome. I'm glad to have you, outdoorsmen. Glad to have new members and new subs and all of that. By the way, if you are a sub and you want to consider becoming a member, what you do is you tap that $sign in the bottom corner, and it'll give you that option. So definitely consider becoming a member if you're not. And the last thing I'll show you, because I got cut off, and I know this was happening to a lot of people on YouTube today, but what I'm going to do with these old boots, and these came from a company in the U.S., so these are actually made in the U.S., so the chances of this leather being decent are good, but you see how they're beat up and they're worn out. they're not worn out enough for me not to want to use this rubber. So what I'm going to do is take my bandsaw and I'm going to cut these rubber soles off of these because they're actually from a good company. I'm going to cut the heels off and square up these heels and then use these rubber soles on the bottom of not my moccasins, on the bottom of my flip-flops that I'm going to make with this leather. That's a good way to reuse this material, I think. I need something stronger so that my leather just doesn't tear, you know. And then, again, so proud of this buckskin. I sing my own praises and stuff. You know, I'm kind of proud of myself. Not gonna lie, definitely something to be proud of. And I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with giving myself a little credit. Soft material. It came out super nice. Outdoors Inc. says, pretty awesome. Do like using my hides off my deer. I also trap too, LOL, but I don't have a garage, so I'm limited to certain things, unfortunately. Yeah. You know, one of these guys, Sage Bush Survival, one of the biggest tanning channels on YouTube. I think he started off in suburbs, and he was like, you could see all the houses around him. He's like tanning hides in the suburbs, and I could see that being a real, really irritating to your neighbors. You know what I mean? For you to do that. So, yeah, it's tough in a lot of scenarios to do some of the jobs you need to do without a lot of space around you, you know? So now those have been oiled. They smell good. I'll get those in I'll paste those down a little. I'll condition your strop, and we'll get this stuff in the mail on Monday. Yeah, appreciate everybody being here, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Calvin. When I'm not throwing a hissy fit about my getting disconnected off YouTube, I'm very thankful and appreciative of all of you for being here, and I definitely thank you for coming in today and hanging out with me. So shout out to all my members in the chat, and definitely consider becoming a member if you're not one already. And you all have a great day today, rest of your day, and then have a great Sunday, because I will not see you tomorrow. I take Sunday off. Yeah, that and drying your furs in the basement. No, it doesn't. Definitely want to scrape those furs and make sure they don't have any flesh on the back of them, though, just right before I go.